What's up everybody, Faberglass from MMA Talk here, and we are concluding our 2019 Canadian MMA Awards with our final list, the Fighter of the Year, the Canadian Fighter of the Year. So that's the prize given to the fighter who has been the best fighter of the year in Canada. That's quite simple, and we are starting right now with the honorable mentions. We've got Jeremy Kennedy, Teddy Ash, Christian Larsen, Jared Revel, and Graham Park. And at number 10, we've got James Clarke. This guy started the year with a negative record, 2 wins and 3 losses. He ended the year with a winning record of 4-3. A belt in BTC, he's the BTC flyweight champion, and he even went to compete in Singapore in the MMA tournament, where these fights are not listed on his record, but he's won many fights there, got to the finals, and unfortunately lost in the finals. But that was such an amazing year for James Clarke. He's quickly establishing himself as one of the best flyweights in Canada, but also as one of the most exciting fighters we've got in Canada. So I had to give him a shout out and put him on the list at number 10, James Clarke. At number 9, we've got Shane Campbell, the busiest fighter on the league. He started the year with a Fight of the Year contender in a win against Menad Abela, then went on to fight in Russia against Pavel Gordiev. He lost by unanimous decision, but Gordiev is probably one of the best fighters outside of the UFC. He came back to Canada, beat David Jourdain at the Fight Night 11 event, and went on to defeat the one Pickney at Unified 39 by second round TKO with a beautiful body kick. So that gives him 3 wins and only 1 loss in this year, 4 fights total. And Campbell is quickly entering a Jesse Ronson-esque territory where he goes outside of Canada. His international fight, he's had tough luck, mostly lost decisions, but he's mostly losing when he goes outside of the country. But in Canada, he's untouchable. Nobody can beat him. I don't know when's the last time he even lost a fight in Canada, but that's been a while ago. Even if it even happened, that may just have been his Jesse Ronson fight in 2013. So that's just show you how dominant Shane Campbell is, and that's why I've got it at number 9 on the list with 3 wins and 1 loss this year, Shane Campbell. At number 8, I've got the double champ, Chad Anheliger, who fought for Rise FC twice this year, defended his bantamweight championship against undefeated prospect Brady Easton before winning it from Craig McLean in a 3rd round TKO. He has one of the better stories in Canadian MMA. He started his career real rough with I think 2 wins and 5 losses in his 7 first fights. He has been undefeated since then, and he is one of the fighters with the most momentum heading into 2020 in Canada. He surely deserves to be on this list as a double champ, flyweight and bantamweight champion for Rise FC. He may be due to defend the flyweight belt sooner rather than later, and I'm really looking forward to see what happens with him in 2020. He's at number 8 on my Fighters of the Year's list, Chad Anheliger. At number 7, we've got Lupita Godinez. She's an undefeated Canadian fighter with 4 wins and no losses. She had been fighting almost everywhere. She fought for CSL, her 2 first pro fight, including her first fight of 2019. She defeated Ashley Madston by submission in the 1st round. Then she went on to fight for Combate Americas, and she defeated Felicia Magan by decision to improve her record to 2-0 in 2019 and 3-0 overall. That's when she got the title shot against Lindsay Carbat at BTC 8, and she won that fight by decision too. So she's now a women's Canadian champion for BTC, 4-0, one of the most talked about fighter in Canada. So the prospect from Titan MMA in British Columbia is surely on the map, and we are looking forward to see what she'll be able to do in 2020. So Lupita Godinez, she's at number 7 on the list. At number 6, Dejan Kajic. He's one of the better veterans in Canada. He's been fighting for a while, but now he's on fire. He has won 3 fights this year, defeated Dominique Smith by KO in the 3rd round, defeated undefeated prospect Eric Meconico by KO in the 1st round, and then defeated Richard Centeno also by KO in the 1st round. So 3 fights, 3 KOs. He's been lined up for a big fight beginning of 2020 with Julien Leblanc. He may not be the guy with the best overall record in Canada, but he was amazing last year. He's looking better than ever, and he's put his name on the short list of who is gonna be the next Tristan Connelly, the next unexpected Canadian to just make it to the UFC on a short notice fight and impress everybody. I feel like if there's a prime candidate for that spot in Canada right now, it is Dejan Kajic, and that's why I had to put him on the list at number 6. At number 5, I've got a late addition. I wasn't going to put him on the list, but man, how could I not? Charles Jourdain. He fought 3 times this year, went 2-1, fought in Canada for TKO, his first fight of the year, and that's really important because I don't want to put UFC fighters on that list habitually. But this year, we had 2 of them that went on the UFC later in the year but fought in local Canada for a local promotion in the beginning of the year. That's the case for Charles Jourdain. He defeated Damien Lapillus by 5th round TKO in a fight that he learned that he was gonna have the morning of the fight because he trained all his camp for Jesse Ronson. Things got switched up because of doctors from the commission, but he fought Damien Lapillus. He took the test from a guy that was way bigger than him and defeated him by 5th round TKO. Went on to the UFC, fought Desmond Green in his hometown of Rochester on short notice too. He lost that fight by decision but was at 155, which is absolutely not his weight class. Charles Jourdain is probably close to 155 or 160 pounds in his everyday life, so that was clearly not his good weight class. So he dropped back down to 145 for his 3rd fight, which just happened at UFC Busan, and he knocked Du Ho Choi out to just establish himself as one of the next prospect in that division, and a guy who is gonna be having like fights against ranked contenders sooner rather than later. So for that, Charles Jourdain makes the list at number 5. What a great year, and what a great knockout to end the year and just put his name on the map. That was amazing. That was one of the best moments of the year, if not the decade, for Canadian MMA fans to see like the new breed of fighter just enter and take the UFC by storm. Charles Jourdain is one of them, and we're looking forward to what he's gonna do next year. At number 4, we've got the handsome one, Scott Hudson. He has had a perfect year with 3 fights and 3 wins. He defeated Adam Hazelton at BTC 5 by guillotine in the 3rd round before doing the same thing to the one Pickney, but that time in the 2nd round at the very next event, BTC 6. Then took a break for BTC 7 and came back at BTC 8, fought Jarrell Askew from Team Alpha Male, and one of his most complete performances. He beat him by unanimous decision to retain his belt and improve his record to 3-0 in the year. He's one of the Canadian fighters with the most momentum. He's probably at that point the poster boy of BTC along with Adam Asenza, and he's the guy winning all the fights. 3-0 this year. He's now on a 4-fight winning streak. His only recent loss has been to Cal Pripolek, who is in the UFC. So we must say Scott Hudson is probably on the short list of people who could make it to the UFC next year. He's had an amazing 2019, and that's why I got him at number 4. At number 3, we've got the Bengal KB Bhullar, and we must say that 2019 has been his year, even like the end of 2018, because he came back from a 5-year hiatus in December of 2018, defeated Corey Atkinson at Unified 35, then went on to defeat Derek Boyle by 1st round submission at Unified 36. 37, he defeated Cody Cron, veteran of many fights, as was Derek Boyle, I must say, but like 2 great veterans. He defeated him by TKO strikes in the 1st round, and then went on to fight UFC veteran, one of the greatest middleweights in Canada, Matt Dwyer, and he beat him by decision in one of the best fights of the year to become the unified middleweight champion of the world, and probably become one of the most sought after fighter in Canada, one of the next guy to make it to the big leagues. And if we include his December 2018 fight, the guy has fought and won 4 times in a span of 12 months. So that's absolutely amazing. What a great year for him. I've got him at number 3 at the Bengal KB Bhullar. At number 2, We've got TJ Laramie, the poster boy of PFC. He headlined the first card of PFC this year, PFC 10, won by first round TKO against James Dunn. That was a short notice replacement, probably not the type of opponent he really wanted to face at that stage, but still like the best opponent that they could give him at that point, and still not a bad opponent. He defeated him quite easily though. Went on to defeat Paris Stanford, way better prospect though, at the PFC 11. He won by decision, and then fought Andrew Cruz, one of the more UFC ready guy on the regional scene, and he just beat him everywhere, standing, wrestling, on the ground. TJ Laramie is more than ready for the UFC. He's one of the most complete fighters in Canada and one of the most interesting fighters in Canada too, to see him develop, because he's not the same guy who lost twice to Alex Morgan in TKO, and even back then he was an amazing fighter who defeated guys like Charles Jourdain and João Luis Nogueira. So TJ Laramie, man, I feel like he's probably the next Canadian to make some waves in the UFC, along with Charles Jourdain at 145. So I can't wait to see him there. But for 2019, it was this year. He was by far the better fighter in Eastern Canada, and almost all of Canada. There was only one guy that was able to steal the top spot away from him, and this guy is none other than the motherfucking Tristan Connelly, our favorite fighter, the Canadian BMF. He started his year with Final Fight Championship. He won by first round guillotine against a real good veteran in Zach Jusola. Then fought in one of the craziest fights of the year against Dejan Kajic at Rise FC4. That was an absolutely brutal war that ended up in a complete bloodbath. Connelly won by TKO in the 5th round. And then we all know what happened. Michel Pereira was supposed to fight in Vancouver. His fight fell through. The UFC needed a replacement, and Tristan Connelly had to do some pushing to get the fight because he was a 55er. He didn't have like the brightest record in Canada with 13-6 and 4-fight winning streak. He was in a good position, but still like didn't have like the brightest record in Canada. Was not like the up and coming prospect with an 8-0 record or something like that. So he had to do some pushing. They let him in, and now they can get him out because he's just amazing. He had one of the upset, if not the upset of the year against Michel Pereira. An amazing performance, one weight class up on short notice. He became the Canadian BMF. He became every Canadian's favorite fighter, the guy that we just want to root for, man. He's Canadian in his essence, just so respectful in his post-fight interview, even though he was trying to say to DC that I'm not surprised, motherfuckers. He just said it in the most Canadian way. This guy's just awesome. He is the fighter of the year. He's the reason why I'm so happy, man, of the new Canadian wave that we get in the UFC. I'm so happy to root for these guys. They're just awesome people, and Tristan Connelly is one of them. He is our winner, the Canadian fighter of the year, and let's hear a word from him.
Can't believe it. It's an absolute honor to be considered the #1 Canadian fighter of the year. And even more of an honor to have our gym ranked as #3. I just can't wait for 2020. I'm going to do it again, and the gym's going to be #1, I promise.
So that's it. That's the list. That's the 2019 Canadian MMA Awards. If you've missed some categories, just come back on the Facebook page or the YouTube channel. They're all there. Just look at them all and tell me what you think about it. Leave a like, a comment. Finally, subscribe to MMA Talk on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Just go to MMAtalk.ca for your article and news every day. And finally, big shout out to my man Charles Whitebeast for the music. I appreciate it a lot. Go follow him at Charles Whitebeast on Instagram and YouTube.